Go. You are live on the social.
Hey, everybody.
Hi, peoples. How's it going?
What's up?
Then this time we have 4 squares instead of 3 squares.
There now, Nicole's got a square.
Aw, thank you.
There we go. Nicole's in there.
I
now.
haven't finished setting it yet, so we're gonna go back to you 3, and then I'll have to set you 4, and then go back to you.
I'll do my bit again. Recorded in front of a live studio audience.
Yes. So when we start the show, I'm gonna flip it back to the 3 so I can fix the 4 because there's just a lot going on. It's the Melissa Houston story. Come
There's
on.
always a lot going on with you, woman. Mm-hmm. Keeping up with you is a constant struggle.
Keep it up with the Houstons. Hey, let's make that a show.
Yeah, so
Kinda like
keeping up
That
with me.
sounds like an original concept that no one's ever come up with.
Hold on. Keep up with Sam Houston.
From the couch to the kitchen.
A slow walk, you can catch me.
A brisk. If you walk at a brisk pace, you'll overtake it.
Yes,
There's a
exactly.
whole segment called the bidet hour.
Is this the,
Flip her over, Sam. Oh, hey, how about that?
why would you print it that way?
To
One of
save
those, like, is this
trees,
side in
Sam.
French or
To save
something?
trees.
Is this side in French?
Because they've been doing like a little second thing with the magazine. You only have a yearly fucking subscription. Thank you very much.
It doesn't always make its way to my house.
Okay, well, it gets paid for. So, yeah, that supplier money you so detest buys you fucking whiskey
I don't
advocate every
detest it. It annoys me that you have it and I don't. I don't detest
It is envy.
And there we are, all completely silent, which is exactly what you want
All
to
right,
do
I'm
for.
ready
It
to go.
is. It's
Recording.
exactly what you
Well,
want.
I'm busy preparing for the show.
And
What
then
the
what were you
fuck
doing
are
the
y'all
last,
doing?
What were you doing the last 45 minutes?
I was going to say,
A different show.
preparing for a show that he should already be prepared for.
The show is here. It's happening.
Yeah, time to prepare.
It's every fucking week with this asshole.
Time to get it done.
So you get it done when you start it.
And I'm the more liked one of the group, so I'm doing something right.
Wait. More liked one of what?
The
Of
group.
which group?
Okay, I can believe that you're more liked than me. I get that. But are you trying to say?
Yes. You're the only
And
one with
Mr.
that
Houston.
diluted thing.
Diluted thing?
Yeah.
Let's take a vote. There's 5 of us in the room.
I just saved Christian's life on the phone.
You put him in the hospital.
Oh.
Just made him happy.
You know what? Y'all tried to come down on me for that. You're like, oh, you're going to make it worse. Like, no. I just added an extra P.
I didn't say anything. I think strippers are a great idea.
Oh my gosh.
And you all got to hear me do, fucking Minnesota stripper voice. It's
Quality.
Yes,
it was
yes,
gold.
everybody.
fucking gold.
If
you trying to say that you were better liked?
Christian said, "Oh, I got excited."
There's a little nugget after you hung up there, buddy. It's just for you.
After he hung up. That's right. That's how we're going with that one. All right, you guys ready to start a show?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Oh, fuck.
This is Alan Brody. Super Bowl would have been a lot less shit if Ben Kay was in charge of the field. Also, screw you, Taylor. You're listening to the Drunkard United Football Show.
Fucking
pretty
brilliant.
good. Yeah.
I like how she slid in the woe to fuck. You meant to do that, Mel. You're playing like you didn't, but you did. You meant to do it. You know it.
All right.
I mean,
Whatever.
This is normally a back and forth with like
Yeah, no, I'm good. You just
enthusiasm
start
and-
off taking a piss. That's fine.
We did beat you last week. Let's start the show.
Born in the land of Bowie, Maryland. Bred to be a fan of fucking Everton. Punch you in the eye and drink your rye. Sam Houston.
Sam Houston?
Arsenal fans have another Sam. AKA the fucking Gooner Graham. Stump of my lord. Look straight in shorts. Sam Grammy.
Sam Graham.
Fucking United! Fucking United!
Hello and welcome to the DU Football Show, a completely biased recap of the English Premier League is told by 2 common American schmucks. I'm your host, Sam Houston, and across the way from me, one of 4 people who have headphones, because closers get headphones, my co-host, Mr. Samuel Graham. Sammy, how you doing, brother?
Doing very well, thank you. How are you?
Very good. I thought you'd appreciate. See, there I gave you a compliment instead of the Viking, our live
Here we
studio
go.
audience.
We have
I
to
give-
do a
give that
fucking
to-
toot your own horn bit, though.
Well, because you just
fine.
because Graham, typically every reference I ever make goes completely over your head, so I feel like I need to turn back around and tell
I
you
don't
about
feel
it.
like you appreciated my "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou" thing. Okay, from earlier. I thought that killed, actually, with the rest of the room.
We're recording at the DU Public House just outside the nation's capital. You can check us out on all podcast platforms. Please be sure to rate, subscribe, review, and share with a footballing friend. Should you want to chat with us, there is many ways that you can. Mr. Graham, tell the good people how they can get in touch.
Very simply, actually, it's at DU Football Show on all the social medias and dufootballshow@gmail.com to get in touch via email. Just make sure you are finding the Drunkard United FC closed group on Facebook. That's where all the fun happens. We also got a Patreon, the Drip Shack. We got a ton of ways for you to support the show and get in touch and be part of the hashtag Bants.
Hashtag dance right there, big old pillow. That
Could
probably
put that on a shirt, a mug.
just because
Anything.
right in front of your face, so you're able to see it. Or as I always like to say, Mr. Graham, you could get in your car and drive your happy ass over here.
Yes.
Which is the case of today. We have our good friend still confused about things, finding her journey, her own personal growth of clubs. But we have Cole with us today. Cole, how's it going, girl?
Hi, it's going great.
Erotic football journey
already-
from Milan to Minsk.
her sexuality.
from Hartlow to Birmingham.
You
Or
know
Hanslow.
what?
Isn't it Hanslow? Isn't that the neighborhood Brentford's in?
Yeah.
From Hanslow to Birmingham.
Yeah. Well, I feel like there's a Debbie Does Dallas joke in there somewhere, and I'm not mad at it. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not. You thought it was going to be a no. I'm like, you know what? I might need to take that trip. I might need to do that.
What was the one they always referenced in Seinfeld? It was a girl's name, and then but it was an erotic journey
Yes.
from Milan to Minsk. That's what
Yes.
set my mind on it, but I can't remember
Would
what it
that
was.
be like the Emmanuel series and stuff like that?
Cole does the Midlands.
Hi. No. You gotta name it something. You know, the exploration of Nicole. Like that's you remember. It has to-
Right, yes,
if it's
it
gonna
has
be
to
on, if it's gonna be on
make it
Skinamax.
artsy.
Yeah, if it's gonna be on Skinamax, it's got to be slightly artsy. Mm-hmm. And remember, also that's where like they're the belly buttons. It's not actual.
Right.
You know, that whole- but that's for
yes.
DU
You just
After
see
Dark.
that, yeah. What? No, this is perfect time for it because this is right when the Scramble channel starts to get a little clearer around this time back in the day. For those of you that were trying to watch porn in the early '90s,
You don't know what
Oh,
it's like with not having Super TV back in the day with the little box that you had to switch over at 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Struggle was real, my friend. Struggle was fucking real.
Kids today so spoiled they will never know the challenge of flipping from 55 to 53 multiple times to get it to come in clear. It's just
I know the
Yeah.
amount of tinfoil we went through hooking it up, trying to get better reception. Yeah, man.
The
Blowing the
having-
dust out of the cartridges when you were done, so you could
Okay.
just play Mario again.
I got one for you. The having to walk into the video store to return the video that you had bought.
Ooh, that's tough.
Purposely making sure it was not on the day that the girl you had asked out on a date was there, but then she switched and took somebody else's shift. So you then
You
have
just
to
paid the
hand
late
in,
fee? Nah,
like,
you just paid the late fee.
it was already 2 weeks late
Damn,
because I had tried multiple times.
it's a lot of rubbing stuff out there.
Well, no,
who
it
the
tried
hell keeps
multiple
calling
times.
off? Like that's who the person you need to make friends with
That's when
is.
you go
Like,
like, hey, I got some ideas from this. You want to try it out? And then you get banned from the store.
Sam and myself both work in the wine and spirit industry and both have a deep, passionate love for all things distilled spirits. So as the red-blooded Americans we are, we vow to have a drink in our hand throughout this show and every single show. Mr. Graham on Thursday, obviously we took a break from the list, but we're right back to it. Tell us what we got today.
Sam actually buried the lead there. Yes, Mel, it could have resulted in him getting banned from the store or in a booth at Bennigan's. We are on number 12.
savagery. Oh,
We are
God.
on number 12 now of Whiskey Advocate's top 20 of 2022. This is the Tom and Tool Cigar Malt Oloroso Sherry Cask Finish. This is 43% by volume or 86 proof. You're looking at around $130 on the shelf. Used to be a lot cheaper, but I found out today why. Panel rated it a 94. It is a Speyside single malt Scotch. Your blurb today comes from David Savona of the Whiskey Advocate Tasting Panel. This alluringly dark and rich Scotch has both smoke and tea on the nose, along with hints of the ocean. A sip brings back memories of sitting by a campfire on a cool night, the sky covered by a blanket of stars. The smoke is prominent but not overpowering on the palate, joined by hickory wood, chocolate-covered peanuts, and earth. Earth. Yep.
Not wind, not fire, just earth.
We are Captain Scotch. Another one. Another one for the kids.
And they won't get the reference.
That's good.
We need more, yeah.
That's good. The finish is long and big. Hey, it's what they say about me. Wait. I didn't know they copied my Tinder profile on here. With that kiss of smoke. It doesn't specifically mention American Spirit like greens. A Speyside Scotch that begs for a cigar as a pairing partner.
It is lovely.
It is delightful.
Really lovely.
Yeah, I really enjoy it.
I do like.
I
don't know that I get as much
smoke.
I don't get as much earthiness as he describes in that blurb, though.
It is surprisingly smoky though for a Speyside. There's a lot of not so much peat smoke, but there's definitely smoke and body
smoke
there.
in there.
I do like this, Sam. For the label, it says Tomintoul, the gentle dram.
Nice.
Kind of like somebody's journey from.
You know what?
From him to her.
There's nothing wrong. I don't know who needs to hear this, but on Valentine's Day, there's nothing wrong with just being gentle. Try a little tenderness.
Written in cursive too. So.
Try a little tenderness.
You know, a soft touch will get you much further.
Soft touch will get you much further. Yeah.
No,
Well
get it done
done.
as fast as possible, and then roll over and go to bed. The best thing I can get y'all for Valentine's Day is less of my presents.
Oh damn!
How about just pizza then?
At least that's what my wife tells me.
Cole, got you covered. There's 3 of them in the kitchen currently.
Wait.
What else do we need to do, Mr. Graham?
Always remember to drink responsibly.
All right, let's get into it, kids. Big old cheers.
Cheers.
My God, there's 5 of us in here, and so it's going to be reverberating off the walls.
Clank, clink, clank.
Cling, 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 cling.
Clinkety, clinkety, clankety, clank.
Graham, this week we're going to go ahead and start at the bottom of the table as the relegation battle tightens up. Wolverhampton 2, Southampton 1, Newcastle 1, Bournemouth 1, Manchester United 2, Leeds 0, Liverpool 2, Everton 0. The Saints give up the lead to a 10-man Wolverhampton side.
Yep.
It's just ridiculous.
It was pitiful. On 24 minutes, the Saints' best moment of the match, obviously, Alcaraz backtrapped. It took him 2 bites of the cherry, but he kissed it off the inside of the post. 1-0, 11 on 11 at that point in time. Just before that, what's his name?
Lamina.
There it is. Lamina, he already had a yellow card for a bad foul at that point. Then ran for about 15 yards or so. This is about 15, 20 minutes after the goal. Ran for about 15, 20 yards or so, yelling at the referee. Referee obviously heard something that he didn't want, got himself sent off for dissent, which is one of the most bonehead things I've ever seen in my life. Right?
That's what you used to do in indoor. Get sent off for
that was
dissent.
Rob was dissent. I get my first yellow for dissent, get sent off for a foul.
There you go.
That's the right way to do things.
Yeah, back then it was Rob. There wasn't Rob and the beard. So the beard
It was just
certainly
Rob.
calmed him a lot more.
So the problem is here, you're up against it obviously, and you put your team under the cosh so badly that even Southampton kind of dominates. That only lasted for about 8 minutes, though. And then Wolves started to reassert themselves. And I know it can be difficult when you're going down to 10, when you're playing somebody that's gone out of 10 men, because they can become more compact. But Southampton had chances. They just could not fucking do anything.
Yeah, they couldn't get that second goal.
They could not get the go-ahead goal. And the Benderek got himself a taste for goal right before halftime with that lovely volley that got blocked out for a corner. And that will come on to in just a few minutes as one of the most comical own goals I've ever seen.
Yeah, that is. and he likes to give up an own goal or two for
Was terrible.
Southampton. And he just got recalled from Villa.
From loan. Yeah.
Fucking just horrible. And of course,
What are you doing?
well, one of the things that it certainly needs to be mentioned with Wolverhampton is Lopetegui's got this team humming right now.
Yeah, they still need to score more goals, but he's definitely, I think, doubled their goal output since before the World Cup, since he took over.
Yeah.
I think they had only scored 8 or 9 goals up to that point. I think they're up to about 15 or 16 goals.
Yeah.
And so he's doubled the output in just 6 games or whatever it is since the World Cup happened.
Agreed. And then, of course, there was the own goal, and then the new signing, the kid. Was it Yao Gomez that gets the second goal?
Yao Gomez got the second goal. That was actually a composed, nice finish. But it should never have happened. I mean, Southampton had a chance to clear 3 times prior to the goal happening, and they just didn't. He chased his own shot down that got blocked. It kind of fell back to his feet, and very good composure to find the top corner.
And all that being said, after just 94 days, one Mr. Jones is out of a job at Southampton.
Yeah, so this was really funny, too. Kenny texted me, and he was like, if this motherfucker doesn't get fired because of this game, I don't know. This might be done for me. And I was like, dude, just calm down. Back up off the ledge. It's fine. So he did get fired. And, well, what I said to him in response was, it's all right, man. You know, he says he doesn't see a lot of himself in that team. I said, but he does. It's a decent championship side, and that's all he talks about in his interviews is how good of a championship manager he was.
Right, precisely.
So he sees everything that he wants to see in that team. And they should rehire him if they do go down.
Problem there is...
Highest XG in Europe, remember?
Yes, exactly.
God.
Problem there is
Absolute God.
that team, typically when you see a team go to their third manager in a season, that equals one thing. It equals relegation.
Yep.
And it doesn't really matter who they get in. I just now, I don't even fear for them anymore. I'm expecting them to go down.
Yeah, me too.
You know, there's debates to be made for the other teams to possibly stay up, but I think Southampton, it's number 1 with a bullet. They're going to be 20th place and they're going down. I don't
see where it gets fixed.
Yeah.
I mean, just based on that defending first, but they also just don't score goals. They don't score goals, and they're defensively not sound enough. Like Burnley, we've talked about how many times they stayed in the league averaging less than a goal a game. That one season, what was it? 33 goals all season. 3 of them came in that first game against Chelsea. That was 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And but they were so defensively sound, they picked up enough draws that kept them in the league for another season. But Southampton just don't have that.
No, they
especially with Benderek falling all over himself like a fucking bumbling idiot. I mean, it was like, you remember those cartoons where somebody would slip on a banana peel like for 50 yards and then finally fall over?
Right. Yeah.
Or they'd save themselves from the banana peel but then step off a curb and fall.
Exactly.
That was Benderek. It was ridiculous.
Yeah. It was terrible. Now, moving on to the other games, I'll tell you what, with Newcastle and Bournemouth, other than possession, which was heavily dominated by Newcastle, the numbers on this were very even.
Oh, yeah.
Shots on target, everything was very even in
This
this
was
match.
easily the best Bournemouth have played since the World Cup happened.
Yeah.
I don't think it's sustainable for them.
No, I agree.
Personally, I think they're way too inconsistent to really have a shout of staying up.
Well, and
I still reckon they're going to
best-
go down, especially with Leicester and their resurgence, Wolves and their resurgence, and you will come on to still a much better showing than would have had under Lampard today, despite the loss. But even that, just picking up the win against us last week, the signs are there that you're going to be able to do something, and the hope is turning into belief rather than the other way around.
Right, precisely.
I just don't see it for Bournemouth.
Yeah, but here's the other thing, though. Newcastle just can't score.
Yeah, I don't know what it is between Isak. Callum Wilson wasn't even on the bench for this one, but Miguel Almiron is the positive note. He hadn't scored in ages, and he had a nice little finish off that rebound.
And you've got
But Longstaff had a fucking ferocious strike for the shot that Almiron eventually put in. That was a decent effort. That
and Saint Maximin is back and playing, but he's really not making the impact that he was, just a year ago. It's he's just kind of like, who's going to fucking score the goals?
well, and despite there being no players left from the Howe era at Bournemouth, that looked a lot more like Eddie Howe's Bournemouth than it did
Yeah,
Do you know what I'm saying?
I agree.
They got the flicks, the tricks. They had, all these little things that he had kind of instilled in them, and the forward-thinking mentality that we haven't seen from O'Neal since he's taken charge. We kind of saw them express themselves a bit more, and I'd like to see that more going this season. I don't know that they will, but I think also defensively, again, they're just too soft to really make anything happen.
Well, your best effort since December, or since November is finally you get a good effort, but it's still just a draw at home. Like Everton was able to manage a win against the league leaders at home. Like that's the kind of game you got to find a way to win. And they shipped the equalizer pretty fucking quickly too.
Yeah, very.
So it just, like you said, it was their best effort, but was that necessarily good enough? Is this the spark
not.
for them? I don't know if it is.
No, it's not. This is going to feel, on the way the game went, this will feel for them as 2 points dropped rather than a point gained.
Yeah, agreed. The second leg of the Roses rivalry happens 5 days prior to the first one. This one was odd because it was 0-0 for a really long time. And damn if it didn't just feel like inevitably United was going to score. It just felt like it's going to happen.
Yeah,
like it's just, you didn't feel like Leeds were going to do something to push the game.
So Ten Hag has manufactured Manchester United being on the best form of any team in the Premier League since the World Cup. He before this game was on, I think, 17 points. Now he's on 20 since the World Cup, is the most in the league. Fulham are immediately behind them as on 19 points as their record post World Cup. But I don't know if they just weren't playing for Jesse Marsch. I don't know what the problem was, but Leeds look more organized now than they did when they had a coach, which is strange.
And well, there's also no real talk of who the next coach is going to be and when they're going to sign him. And frankly, their most important game of the season is coming up this Saturday at Goodison against Everton.
So what you're telling me is no coach is better than the American.
They haven't
It would seem
hired
to be
anybody.
the case.
Just checking.
Because the strange bit, right? When you're, think about this. Yeah, everybody loves to make military references to, to sports. If the Yorkshire is so backwards, right, that they got better when the general got killed.
Yeah.
Why? 'Cause normally you'd try to pick off the guys on the horseback first,
Right.
and then the troops wouldn't know what to do. Yeah. Here, they kill the guy on the horseback, and everybody goes, "Well, thank God for that. Now we can really express ourselves." It's just very strange, man.
Yeah.
I don't get
But
it.
I mean, even though they were more organized, they weren't able to score.
Yeah, I mean that's Patrick Bamford still looks like he's got a ton of rust after being off for so long. He had that one game in the FA Cup where he scored a hatful of goals, but other than that, missing Rodrigo's huge for them.
Oh, big time.
Missing
big
Rodrigo's
time.
is massive for them. Brendan Aronson isn't getting the starts. I don't even know who's running the show, who's picking the team there right now. It might be Luke Ayling for all I know.
It's who fucking knows.
Yeah,
That's
it's just weird.
and it feels like, I mean, at least for me,
Well, that's what happens when you call bread and gravy pudding, despite it being delicious. I love a Yorkshire pudding.
He just desperately needs jokes to land.
I like it. Who would deal without my dad jokes? This show wouldn't be the same. You know it. Fuck off. Take that to the bank.
These are not dad jokes. Who told you that?
Me.
Oh, okay. There we go.
I got a joke that Kitty the chicken told me the other day. This is gonna get kicked off the air. What do you call a mythical cow's milk?
Sam's cum.
Legendary.
Oh,
Why?
that's pretty good. That's not bad.
All right, moving on to the Merseyside Derby.
I'm sorry, let's replay that. I didn't.
Funny
Dairy
enough,
Sam, D-A-I-R-Y.
Yes.
I'm just fucking with you. Go ahead.
So funny enough as
Shaking my head.
it is that Everton are currently in the drop zone, and you felt like today's result, Liverpool needed it more than Everton did.
Yes.
it almost felt like Liverpool was desperate to get that W. Like they desperately needed to get a win.
Yeah, well, this is the other thing that I was telling Brody before he left earlier. By the way, did you take a video or a picture of him taking a shot at Malort to pay Taylor off for losing?
No, in fact, I just tagged Taylor and was like, Brody left before he did his shot.
Yeah, that's why he got the fuck out of here.
He talked with me. He wants to come back and do it again later. He didn't want it to be like the opening of the show doing the Lord, but he does. He will honestly.
He just didn't want that to be the last thing he tasted before he left.
He wanted to make sure that
Have a
he's
40-minute
get
drive home
so
with that taste in his mouth.
He'll get that shot in there.
Yeah. So, what'd you ask me?
Just that it seemed like Liverpool needed this game more than
what I was
Everton
saying to Brody was that's not a problem. This loss has nothing to do with anything because at the beginning of the season, for those teams that we were thinking would be the bottom 6 or 8 that are kind of going to be scrapping it out for relegation, this is not a game that you earmark as a win. Nobody knew prior to the season starting that Liverpool were going to be a shambles. Yeah. The win against us last week, that's a icing on the cake. That's not the cake.
Right.
The cake is your loss to Southampton. That's a fucking problem.
Right,
Your
exactly.
loss to Leicester, whoever. That's a problem. You know what I mean? Like
we have Leeds and Villa coming up at home.
Those are huge. Those
huge
are the games that you're going to be judged by ultimately at the end of the season.
Yeah.
And whether or not you get the axe. So this, it's a nothing result, really. Liverpool needed it because to lose to a team in 19th place or 18th place, whatever y'all are in now, in the position they're in with the standards that they hold, that would be detrimental.
Yeah, exactly.
But for you in the position you were to lose to Liverpool, who are, I mean, be honest about it, a vastly more successful club with a bigger budget on the other side of the park, that's not a game that you earmark every season to go, that's a win.
Yeah, we don't.
No manager plans for that.
No.
You know what I mean?
That was go out, play a tidy game, take advantage of your opportunities.
The fact that you only lost 2-0 is, you didn't get blown out of the water. You didn't anything else. It looked like a tidy, professional kind of, we kept it together and they didn't get too much.
Well, and heck, the way that game could have changed, it's proof that all games in sports are a matter of inches. You have Iwobi does the corner kick to Tarkowski. He gets a head on it, puts it just off of the post, almost goes in. 15 seconds later on a counter in the other direction, Mo Salah puts the ball in the back of a net. Like, that ball goes in the net for Everton and they're up 1-0. Suddenly then Dyche packs the fucking bus.
Yeah.
And you don't think that would have fucked with Liverpool, them trying to figure out how to break down as you've already mentioned with Sean Dyche, a well-oiled defensive machine like that knows how to hunker down and hold down a game?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a completely different game. It's a completely different game.
Absolutely.
And you could almost sense the... I swear I almost heard a collective sigh come out of the Kop.
Absolutely.
Because
100%.
they just desperately
They were winless in 2023.
Yeah, they had yet
and
to
with
win a game.
with this one goal, Mo Salah moved into a tie for top scorer since the World Cup with Wout Faes.
Yeah, exactly.
From Leicester.
Yeah, who doesn't play for Liverpool?
But I mean,
as their top scorer.
But I will agree with you about the way that Everton played, because you're talking about a team that already has experience doing this because they did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For Everton, it sucks. I always want to win a derby. I always want to do well.
Of
in a
course,
derby, but
you never want them to have that over you. But at the same time, like I said, there's no way that this compounds the season or anything like that, because it's not a game that you're going to look at and go, "Oh, we're fucking doing this." It's that Southampton game is the one that's the kick in the nuts.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And under Frank Lampard, this would have been a 5-0 loss. We would have gotten fucking annihilated.
Right.
So, goal differential still means something, especially with Leeds. And it's like, okay, just move on. The more important game is this weekend against Leeds.
Yep.
It's far and away the more important game. So
You better hope they appoint somebody by then.
If they do, he won't even be on the sidelines. That's the thing, you know?
Well, depends.
So time for me to do my shot on Malort. Yay. But at least there was 1 week where I didn't have to do Malort. But you did.
Yeah. Thanks. Don't remind me.
I mean, I'm taking pictures of it like there isn't 30 of those already on the Facebook.
I could just, stock image at this
I'm
point.
like, what am I doing? This is nothing new.
Stock image at this point is not a problem.
I need a chaser, and I didn't even know.
Oh, man. So, Mr. Graham, I ask you this question.
Yeah.
Are Liverpool back?
No.
Can they charge
Absolutely
back?
not. No. Had they beaten you 4-0, yes. But then again, we've already seen that this season. We saw that 9-0 against Bournemouth earlier in the season, and we thought Liverpool finally showed up, and they haven't done anything.
And then
since.
they fell apart again. And
So they need a run. They need 3-4 games where they're winning games rather convincingly or minimum comfortably before I'll agree to that at all.
well, next up, they're going to be going to St. James Park to play Newcastle. Now, the good news, Newcastle doesn't score any goals. The bad news for Liverpool, Newcastle doesn't give up any goals
Nope.
either. Now we turn our attention to the top of the league as the Gunners' lead is now only 3 points. Manchester City 3, Villa 1, Arsenal 1, Brentford 1. City came out swinging. We called it. We said somebody going to get hurt real bad.
Yeah, I mean, the one mistake City made, Villa capitalized on, but that's it.
We didn't get hurt real bad. It was only 2-1.
City didn't even make it out of second gear, Jurgen. All 3 of their goals counted, Jurgen.
No.
You can't just pick and choose.
One did not.
You can't just pick and choose.
Did not.
Clippity clop.
Causation does not equal correlation. Ergo, yes, there's contact against Jack Grealish, but that's not made him go down. He went down on his own accord. Again, causation does not equal correlation.
Unless Lee Mason's your VAR, that's a penalty for any other day of the week in any fucking country.
Hey, Mel.
Yeah.
Hey, Mel.
Yep.
Remember when you used to love Jack doing that for you?
What? The one season?
Jack used to get all those calls for you.
Hey, Christian will understand this. You know whose nipples got hard seeing those calves jiggle around? Just like they saw their
little
ex in a
baby
skimpy
with the
top
little
walking at the
baby
mall or
shin
something.
guards.
Mm-hmm.
Mel.
Yeah.
She saw them calves jiggle and she went, oh,
No.
I can't feel this way anymore.
Christian said Grealish flopped so bad. Sick bun. Oh, sick burn. Sorry. Sick burn.
Sick bud.
Oh, and earlier he goes, oh, it's the Merseyside dairy.
Yeah, Terry.
Can I give some major props, though, to Kanza?
Yeah, he didn't play a bad little
He
match.
had a fucking great match. Was like a beast out there doing his job, you know.
Problem is he had Colin Chambers next to him, and Colin Chambers no so
not
good.
so much so good. Hopefully, whatever
so
the
good.
bug is that Mings has gets out of his system.
Yes, please.
Column.
For fuck's sake.
Yeah. But there
Chambers
was
is his name. yeah.
definitely an energy change when McGinn came on. I'm not saying McGinn was the cause of it, but there
No,
was
of course it
definitely-
wasn't. It was his ours.
I was gonna say it was all that ass.
No, it's the thick, juicy thighs. I don't know why y'all are focused on the ass when he's got
Because
those.
it's all connected. It's all.
And ass is much more important. In the grand scheme of
My
things,
God.
ass is more important than thighs.
and I was wearing my
blinding.
McGinn jersey as well.
Wait.
What?
Are you seriously going to sit here and be like, the ass is better than thighs?
Yeah.
I mean,
No one
hold
makes their
up.
thighs
Are we-
clap.
No,
Okay.
no.
Yeah,
no,
they do. If you're doing it right.
No, because if the thigh meat don't match,
Oh no, you can't have twigs in a fucking beach ball. No,
not-
that's weird. No,
Anything.
and that's why it's not more important.
If anything, I think
no, I'm not
McGinn
saying that.
looks more normal with the thick ass, juicy thighs than Grealish does
Agreed.
with the calves.
Agreed.
Just saying. Anyways,
Just saying.
No,
great
but you
job
can't.
on-
It's apples and oranges.
No, it's thighs and calves. Are you not
No,
listening to us?
it's different. It's different. It's different. Yeah, the only person that can compare to John McGinn is the woman whose name I can never fucking remember.
Ashley, I don't remember her last
Ashley.
name.
Douglas Louise's ex.
Yes.
Yes.
Ashley Layton.
Yes. The only other one that can rival John McGinn at that football club.
The second best ass at Aston Villa, because the first one belongs to John McGinn.
Also, some nice
first one
thighs,
on
but that's not what I'm picking out. It's not what I'm holding on to. It's not what I'm doing.
Anyway.
Okay?
But that's your
I'm-
thing. You can't just say a blanket statement.
Yes,
like,
you can.
Oh, it's
You
better
absolutely
than that.
can.
No,
In
you
this
can't.
situation, yes, you
Some
can.
people
I
like
am-
thighs better.
Nobody's talking about fucking chicken leg beach ball ass. That's weird.
Ain't nobody talking about that
Some
either.
bad plastic surgery.
I'm just
Yes,
saying.
it is. It's
Muscular,
terrible.
thick quads. Sam Houston, you are my witness on that. Because is that not one of your best qualities?
It is.
So there you go.
That just means he doesn't have very many other good qualities.
That's it.
If that's how far down the list you have to go to find a good quality,
No,
that's
it's just a winner. It's just a winner.
Have you not seen Sam
of the- top
Houston
of the
in a
list.
pair of short shorts? He rocks those 70s
Top of the
shorts
list.
like it's
Top of the list.
1978, and we're all high on coke.
Three words, Sam. Charming motherfucker. You need to remember that. You
also
get
has
in the
nothing
way
to do
of
with the
life.
shape of your legs.
Anyways,
Irrelevant point.
We're getting away from the most relevant point, which is the fact
Is
that
I'm the
Villa
more
lost.
attractive Sam. Let's just put it out
Is
there
that Villa
now.
lost? And no, Mel,
What?
no,
What?
no.
Has he not had it yet?
Take that fucking shot.
Stop. Sam said no.
No. Then she can have one and he can drink with her.
That's fine. All right.
so for those
It's
of you that are
her
watching,
team lost.
Yep.
She
we've
has
got
to do it.
You
the
can do it
This is
together.
punishment.
Viking is sitting behind me, and I very slickly handed him my shot because he'll drink whatever I hand him. But Houston caught me, so
Feels predatory.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
You know what? That's a great tagline. Malort, ... feels predatory.
Correct.
Much
title.
like Sam in 1976 short shorts. It feels predatory.
No, Graham. It feels,
As a
it feels
slight
right.
young man,
It feels right.
No.
as a slight young man, that feels kind of predatory to me.
of the villa.
Oh, wait, it gets worse.
Oh,
Wait
just
till
hold
you
on.
get the
Oh, it's that.
throw up in the throat part, the bile. That's really where it gets good.
Finally gets a mic in his face, and all he could do is look at the ground.
Well, I wasn't. I didn't even fucking know about that.
The Malort is so bad, he didn't even notice the microphone. Me, I'm used to it. I swallowed that shit like it was.
Easy.
Careful,
Hours.
careful.
Chew it
Now I
Careful, this is a family show.
This is a family show. That might be the funniest thing I've ever heard said on this show. There you go, Graham. A joke landed. Good for you.
That's the title. Careful,
family
this
show.
is a family show.
Careful.
Careful, careful.
What?
What was the point of that? I didn't. What
It's
did
the
I
punishment.
lose?
Nothing. You showed your
little bit of
solidarity
your
with Mel.
soul. It's like a Horcrux.
Well,
Yo-
Okay,
yo-
every time you
Horcrux,
take
so there's
one,
7 other options.
every time you take one, you lose a little bit of your soul.
One of their taglines, Carson, is Malort. When you want to unfriend somebody in person.
Oh my god!
Yeah, basically, she made you take that shot for y'all's little try to distract me session you had a few minutes ago. We're talking and laughing on off mic, and you know.
That's
So Cole, we're talking. We're talking about your exploration with your teams. Both of the teams in this segment, we're talking about your club. So, did you watch the Villa match? What did you think of the match?
did.
What?
So yeah, I watched the Villa match. I'm gonna be honest. I watched the first half of the Villa match.
Ooh, second half is when it got good.
I made nachos. And halfway, watched the second half, but then halfway ate my nachos and cried into my beer. It was.
I thought making nachos was a euphemism for fresh
No,
air,
in
and she
fact,
fell asleep.
Oh, it
I
was just, I'm going to eat my
immediately
feelings now and cry.
Started a chat group with Nicole and Lindsay after the first score, and I believe my text was, "Can't believe that motherfucker that tucked his jersey in scored."
The motherfucker
Roger.
that tucks
Yeah.
his fucking jersey in scored the first fucking goal. I was
does
done.
that?
I was done. I was like,
Loser.
you know what?
Loser. I mean, he's only a professional
Fucking
player playing
nerd.
for one of the
Yeah,
wealthiest
fucking
clubs in the
nerd.
world.
Yeah.
Whatever. Let's
Fucking nerd.
discounting his goal and discounting the
nerd.
bullshit. That was a tied game. What am I doing shots for?
He is quite
Count.
clean
Sure
cut.
thing, Jurgen. Sure thing.
Quite clean cut as well. He could join that group of Walt
Oh,
on the moped, the library group
Mason
after
Mount.
and
Yep.
Mason Mount
Yeah.
after games that go to the library.
Going to the library for
And he
good.
tucks his fucking shirt in.
Oh, God.
For those of you that don't know, Rodri owned a fossil set when he was a kid.
Definitely.
Oh,
And if you want to understand that further, patreon.com/DU Football Show, and you'll hear the fossil kit story.
Did he buy that fossil kit at Five
Below?
Christian.
Could
Christian
be.
says that Tyrion Reed tucks his jersey in. Speaking as a gooner.
Oh no.
Oh, no.
No. It's lots of confusion and movement and craziness. We're in a tight space today.
We didn't tell him the rule that you don't get up once the show starts.
Yeah,
did
exactly.
we?
Sam, fix your blank. Never mind. It's fixed already.
Good.
All right, beautiful. Now,
Against it.
so next up,
Yes.
Arsenal blow a lead, or
Lee Mason blew a lead. Sir.
did they? From what the PGMOL has come out and said after the fact.
Yeah. So I think the first one we were actually let off the hook that they called. The second one, though, that they allowed to stand 3 minutes minimum is what that VAR check to do. And Howard Webb reached out to Arsenal directly and said, we apologize. Lee Mason forgot to draw the lines.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, and
Yeah.
there was another game, I think a Stupion's goal in Brighton. Their VAR drew the line on the wrong player.
Yep.
So there was somebody else keeping him on. And that would have been his first goal for Brighton.
Yep.
And then the Souček handball. So West Ham was also reached out to. Chelsea, rather, was reached out to. Sorry, that one's subjective, is what Howard Webb said. But the two binary decisions of the offsides, Brighton and us were reached out to and apologized to. Excuse me. A little bubble.
Yeah.
And then it's a bubble.
And your method explodes.
Forever blowing bubbles.
No, beer fest.
I
shtick
got
there,
it. Yes,
stud.
I
Yeah.
know. But we just mentioned West Ham too. That's the tie-in.
Right.
Anyway, that wasn't a pretty bubble, though. I'll tell you that.
No.
Oof. The kind of burns actually. But we were reached out to, apologized to, and offered an extra explanation of sorry, it was human error.
But
Well,
if
that's what VAR was supposed to fix.
you could
Exactly.
And you
lose-
took 3 minutes to make the decision, but you didn't do the thing that makes the decision, which is drawing the fucking line.
So, yeah, well, and that's my question. What the fuck were you looking at?
Right. What were you doing for 3
what
minutes?
were you reviewing?
Also found
Where's
out,
the review?
heard this today, didn't know this. The VAR has an assistant VAR next to him that helps him. So not only did one person
Do
miss it,
what?
2 people missed it. And then you count the linesmen. So now you have 3 referees fucked up the same decision, and 2 of them have the benefit of watching a replay over and fucking over again. And they have the added capacity to draw lines on the screen to really see where it is, and they didn't do it. And if we lose the title by 2 points or less, this is the fucking game where it happened.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely not losing at Goodison Park last
No,
week.
because this was a
Yeah.
win. With
Yeah,
that
it was a
result,
win.
this was a win.
It was a win.
And we dropped 2
Right.
points.
Yeah, it was a win.
Yeah, because of this result. So we didn't play well enough on the day. The mark of champions is winning when you're not supposed to. And if it wasn't for the referee, we would have.
Right.
So if you lose by 2 points
Or less.
or less, dare I say, you missed it by a bee's dick.
Oh, damn. Hey, Mel. Look. I can see the vein.
I was not gonna make that joke. Just
Just gonna
FYI.
sip my whiskey.
But also
Sip your whiskey.
You know,
Sip my whiskey.
would have definitely
Melissa,
been
this sip's
okay.
for you.
I would have totally been okay with a 1-0 result. Like I don't know that Brentford could have played any harder, and I definitely think that they watched the Everton tape. I know
100%. 11
Oh, yeah.
people behind the ball the whole time.
I know they. I mean, but also
And they hit
I
on the
mean,
counter a couple times, and that was it. Like
The first,
we gotta move
I
the
would
ball
say
quicker.
15 minutes of the first half was, a goal by 1,000 kicks. Like Arsenal had the possession.
everything.
They had the chances. One.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, yes, I would have been
So
absolutely
we
satisfied
definitely
with a 1-0
needed to do
result.
better.
But
I'm not excusing our performance. Our performance was shit. We moved the ball too slow. We allowed them to stay organized. Very rarely, again, did we skip players passing around, like swinging around the back to move them and shift them around to create gaps. This was the type. They said it about Manchester City a while back. Yeah, it was. Would City be better suited to relinquishing 5 or 10% of the possession to be able to draw them out? To hit them on the counter. Would that be a better way to play with Haaland and utilize his skill set, right?
Yeah, agreed.
Well, Eddie is fast. Martinelli is fast. Saka is fast. They play well and quickly. They play well quickly also. Yeah. So when there's 11 men camped out on the edge of the box, you completely neutralize their pace. You completely neutralize the space that they can exploit and find themselves in. Would it have better served Arsenal to say, okay, you know what? You have the ball. Let's sit back. Go ahead. You take it. And then they get drawn and drawn further and further forward. And then 3 passes were down the field, goal. You know what I mean?
Right.
Then you can utilize that pace, that skill. Where with 11 men behind the ball and you're playing in a 25-yard square, right, in that final third of the field, how are you supposed to break down a team that has 11 men behind the ball?
Yeah.
And playing that slow, it's impossible.
Christian wants to know, will Trossard start ahead of Martinelli?
No.
And he thinks, honestly, Zinchenko's the problem, and Thierry Henry would feed that side of the pitch.
No, Zinchenko will not bow out. Martinelli will not bow out. They will start with that front 3. Now, what I could see, because Martinelli can play through the middle, if Eddie goes another game without a goal, I could see Martinelli playing through the middle and Trossard starting out wide and dropping Eddie to the bench.
Yeah, I could see that.
Maybe he's got too much pressure on him or what have you.
Because, I mean, Trossard was,
Yeah.
he was on fire.
But Martinelli
I'm just
didn't
gonna
have his
be honest.
Martinelli didn't have his best game ever, but he's still one of our bright spots, right? He still plays very positively, still
He's
runs
still,
at people.
What, 7-8 goals this season right now
Yeah,
already?
something like
So
that,
he's scoring in tandem with the rest of the guys up top. So I don't think he deserves to be removed. I think Trossard is honestly best used as a super sub type player to help change the pace of the game a little
But
bit.
the other thing
And
too
that's
is
exactly what it did. That's exactly what it did.
but that's what I'm saying with Eddie, because Eddie and Martinelli offer something totally different. Eddie's much more of a, not on the same level, obviously, and just the stats by themselves prove that. But he's a Holland type player, where he'll only touch the ball 20 times a game, but 2 of those touches could end up in the back of the net. They're actual clear cut chances.
Precisely.
He's not always super involved. Where like Jesus is very involved, Martinelli is very involved. They're very busy, dropping off, collecting, running at players, this, that, the other. So maybe we need to mix that up, and we need to make it quicker up top. And that would only happen by removing Eddie first, putting Trossard on the left and playing Martinelli through the middle because he can. Saka cannot play through the middle.
Right. No, Saka has to
He
play on the
has to
right.
play on the right,
Now,
my opinion.
So Cole, and when we go into the next segment, we're actually going to flip games, Graham. We're going to go and talk about Crystal Palace first because that's the third of our teams, and I figure we should kind of focus on that here. How do you still feel about Villa and Brentford currently throughout the season so far?
So I feel good. I do think that Villa right now is struggling, but I don't feel like it is insurmountable, right? Like they have had some issues in the midfield.
Getting McGinn back from injury is huge.
They're also only 2 points off of the top 10. That's the thing. One win, a win and a Chelsea loss, and they're in the top 10.
They're not in trouble by any means.
The whole team is playing differently under Gerrard. I mean, I was talking about
You mean
concept.
Emery?
No, they're playing different under Emery than they were under Gerrard.
Right, okay.
Right.
They were playing different under Gerrard.
Yes, they were playing different under Gerrard.
Konza is thriving under this.
Tyrone Mings had a huge comeback.
Yeah.
From what he was doing.
Yep. So
I'm sorry, I got distracted. You said huge and Tyrone Mings in the same sentence.
And and then we both go to gutter.
he's got the ab thing and then the little V thing.
It's an arrow.
Yeah,
It's pointing.
Guarantee he's got a
lot of things pointing.
Guarantee he's got a tiny dick.
You know what that V overtakes? The ass and the thighs. Rounding out the rest of the league. So that happened.
In no place ever does the V take over ass and thighs.
Okay. Well,
I'm telling you that right now.
I needed to work us out of the fucking segment, and I did successfully. So fuck off.
Disagree.
Crystal Palace 1, Brighton 1, West Ham 1, Chelsea 1, Fulham 2, Nottingham Forest 0, Leicester City 4, Tottenham 1. The El Gatwico chippy, but it offered very little else, to be
There was
honest.
nothing.
With you.
The main takeaway is how sad it was for Estupiñán to not open his account after that fucking dreadful decision.
Yeah.
Because he seems such a lovely player, always puts in full effort, just wears his heart on his sleeve, and always, plays for the badge, it seems. And for him to not open his account is a pain in the ass.
Despite the fact you're throwing shit on the floor, Mel, and you put your hands up in the air, we still could see you. It was like, you can't see me. I didn't do anything.
It's only the second time that's happened tonight so far.
Yeah, exactly. Cole, here's my big question for you.
Yeah.
Now, I know Villa was on Sunday, so you were able to watch that.
Yes.
Arsenal, Brentford, and the El Gatwico were on at the same time. Which match did you watch?
I watched Arsenal Brentford. I
says
watched
something.
the replay today.
And watch the game
And-
twice.
And that was
Do you fancy Ivan Toney?
that was the Gatwico, though.
Of course. Like, what kind of question is that?
Well, I'm just wondering, because is that having something to do with it? Is because Ivan Toney's an attractive man
Oh.
versus the Crystal Palace
I
players
see.
who, like Wilfred Zaha's, they're obviously their best player, but he looks like a skeleton. Literally,
Yeah, no.
is an unattractive man. in my-
Careful. That's Jan's favorite player, and
He's
she
a quality
likes his
player, and-
smile.
Really?
Oh yeah, she thinks he's a cutie.
I think if
Okay.
you chopped his head off right now, he could go straight to a dental school. No one would know the difference.
Just telling you, Wilfred Zaha, Jan's type.
You know what? And different strokes for different folks. That's all I'm gonna say. I love you, Brownie, no matter what. And yeah, no, I did not watch.
She's talking about Jan, by the way.
Yeah.
I am
Not the two
talking
black
Jan.
players we're referencing right now.
Oh God!
Just as a
Now,
clarification point. I
well,
love you, Brownie. Careful.
here's
This is a family show.
here's the greater point I'm getting to.
It's so stupid.
We know it's Valentine's Day, and
fuck's
it's
sake.
Yes.
there's probably going to be some Dear Johnny going on. I have a feeling who your Dear John's going to be too.
Yeah, I have a feeling too. And I mean, this is so earlier in the season, right? I made absolutely zero effort to hide my love of Nottingham Forest and
Dean Henderson, yeah.
specifically my baby daddy, Dean Henderson. Yeah.
He's hurt now, replaced by a Costa Rican fuckboy.
Yeah,
You know
exactly.
what? I could still come across as desk on you. So it was definitely a situation of, no, it's really you. It's not me.
Yeah.
I feel like this situation is very different because I appreciate Crystal Palace. I have watched, their matches and have definitely had that feeling of, yes, this could be, this
Right.
could be
This
my,
could be
my
my
team.
club.
This could be my club. So this is a different sort of scenario. I have enjoyed watching their matches. I think we talked about this earlier, that there's not, in my mind, there's nothing wrong with aggressive play. Like the way that Crystal Palace plays, and the way they go after the goals, this is a situation of, it's me, it's not you.
Yeah.
It's not you, it's me.
Do you want to, before you finalize that decision, you want a little tidbit? Mm-hmm. This past week, they let go of an assistant coach because he frequently, quote unquote, frequently outsteps his role because he gives the first team a dressing down. When Patrick Vieira, surprisingly, came to light this week that he's a pretty laid back character in the dressing room.
That's surprising because he's
Yeah,
a,
that is surprising.
he's vicious as a
Player,
famously
was
a vicious player.
Oh, yeah.
And what I've, as I understand it, what I heard a few pundits say is that maybe his just aura, you don't want to piss him off. Like his reputation kind of precedes the man.
Don't
But-
make me get your father kind of attitude.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. But he
the
let
threat means more than the actual action.
But he let go of the assistant coach that was doing the dressing down of the players, that was
Nice.
like yelling at them and cursing at them and all that kind of stuff. He fired him.
Wow.
And you know what? And
Does that change your opinion at all? Because Patrick
No.
Vieira is a fucking boss, or no?
No, I already knew. So Crystal Palace and specifically Patrick Vieira, to me, when he came out with this statement, I think it was earlier this year, maybe late last year, where he talked about how 43% of the players in the English Premier League are black, but he's the only black manager.
Yeah.
Like the way that he stood up for representation, like I knew he was a boss. I knew he was a badass already, and that just only endeared the club to me more.
Well, he's another one of those that's had to deal with it a ton in the French press back in the day of Senegalese descent, but represented the French national team, where when he had a bad game, he was Senegalese-born Patrick Vieira, but when he had a good game, he was French captain Patrick Vieira. Yeah, and it, you know, we talked about it with Ozil being from Turkey-born, but German national team player.
Right.
We talked about it with Lukaku, obviously. I mean, we've said this time and time again. And just that kind of separation, especially with people of color in that part of the world, where the citizenship or the acceptance of being from there, you know, I guess, quote unquote, is almost a prize.
It's only attached to exceptionalism.
Exactly.
Which you have to be exceptional as a person of color, but for everybody else,
the most famous example.
Like,
the most famous example. I think the kid was from Madagascar. I might be wrong about that. Might have been somewhere else. The kid that scaled that French apartment building.
Oh yeah.
And rescued the kid from the fire. Was given as a result of that French citizenship. Yeah.
Yep.
And that
to do
that
something
whole
extraordinary to become a French citizen.
thing exactly. But also that Patrick Vieira came at through at a time at Arsenal, got purchased at a time at Arsenal when you had Lauren playing right back, when you had his French teammate, white guy, Emmanuel Petit in midfield. So we had the French starting center midfield in our team at the same time, and he was, you know, short, blonde. Like stereotypical fucking French dude with the scarf over, you know what I mean? And then Patrick Vieira, tall, lanky, and hard as fucking nails, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Next to him, you had Thierry Henry, Sylvain Viltor, you had Robert Pires, he was white, but the other two were black. You had all of these black players coming through. You had Sol Campbell was our center back at the time. So Arsenal through and through was black, and that's where we have that reputation, and why it's such shit what happened against Brentford for us, right? Is we have this reputation of being the first
get to
team.
that at the end of the show.
Right, yeah. But that's where we have this reputation of being a team that's so accepting of that sort of stuff, and our supportership is so accepting of that integration that is just normal, that should be normal. And Paul Ince had a chance as a Premier League manager with Blackpool a while back. He is managing now in the Championship. There's been a few black managers. I think Chris Hughton's mixed, but there's a few black managers that have come through in the Premier League, but for whatever reason, they're not given their chance. And I'm obviously not privy to any of those meetings. I don't know why, but he's absolutely right that he's the only one now, and the representation just isn't there, and it shouldn't be that way. I mean,
but the fact that he would say that in an interview after a match told me immediately, like, this is a guy who's going to stand up for his players.
Oh, yeah.
And just that little bit of information about him firing the assistant coach just only reinforces that in my mind more.
for sure.
But it makes it harder to let go of Crystal Palace.
Yeah, so it does. So it does maybe change your mind a little. So do they hold on another week, or are you still saying goodbye?
You know what?
Cole,
I'm
Cole, I was
all ready.
Cole, I'm gonna give you an answer here as well, because here's the thing: you had the choice. Now, Villa was on a Sunday, so you could watch them independently.
Yes.
You had a choice between Brentford playing Arsenal. Okay, it's the top team in the league. That's fine. Or you had a chance to watch, and we jokingly call it the Gatwico, but this is their derby. This is their Everton Liverpool. This is their Spurs. This is their Spurs Arsenal. This is their fucking match. You chose to watch somebody else.
I did.
And I think that says it's not them, it is you, but you chose to watch a different match.
By the way, it's Arsenal Spurs. The more prestigious is always named first. Thank you very much.
Oh Jesus, here we go, pro Arsenal agenda. But yeah, I agree with you. You know, and that's what I was gonna say. Like, unfortunately, I'm at that point now where I have to split ways.
That's
And
completely your
you know,
prerogative.
Crystal
Top
Palace
Chef,
did
you're
not.
judging on not enough salt. Like it's not. It's,
Right.
This part of the program is not
Literally.
supposed to be easy for her.
So what you're saying is for having so many black players and so many good things, they still season their food like white people at Palace.
You
Is that what
said
you're saying?
That's wrong.
No.
It's terrible.
So
My goodness.
we're down to 2.
we're down
by
to
the way,
two.
I've been watching
We're down to two.
a lot of Uncle Roger, Sam.
Hey,
lately.
Palace. Goodbye.
Maybe Brad will quit listening now. That'll be good. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Brad's
I love
a
Brad.
Patreon
I love
person.
Brad. I'm just kidding.
Should somebody want to find our Patreon, how do they go about doing that?
Patreon.com/Do Football Show. It's pretty easy, actually.
There you go.
Sign up
That's,
to one
go.
simple $5 tier.
that's a good whore. Moving on, the early game on Saturday, we had Chelsea finally score, but they don't score enough, and that was a pretty big point for the Irons, man.
Yeah, but it shouldn't have been because Tomek Such. So here's the difference in the decisions. There was, I can't remember what game it was in, but last week or 2 weeks ago, there was a decision that was not given because players bracing themselves while falling have been forgiven for an accidental handball. I'm not so sure this was accidental, is where I find the discrepancy.
Well, because the
personally.
hand would be going down,
And it was out.
not out and parrying. He was
But what
parrying
I,
the ball away.
but what I think the
I
referee
used to play
did,
goalie. I know how to do that move.
but what I
I
think
would do that move all the time.
What I think the referee was looking at was the fact that that was his arm closest to the ground and he was falling. So, I mean, diving to make a save, falling, same thing, right?
Because we all fall like this. Whoa.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know about you. That's how I fall.
Nah, he was playing volleyball. That's all it was.
I mean, if you're from Uruguay and your name's Luis Suarez, you fall like this. But that's just a thing. I don't. Everybody, cultures are different. We should respect everyone's stuff.
And if you jump and you're Luis Suarez, you jump like this.
If you jump like Duncan Ferguson, you jump like this. Oh, by the way, real
This
quick,
is why you need to watch the video every Monday at 7 p.m. live.
more information about that. Do you know, we've told the story many times on here about Duncan Ferguson beating up the intruders, the burglars into his home, and then sitting there while the police came.
Right.
What we didn't know was he said recently, upon becoming manager of Forest Green Rovers, and they asked him a bunch of very basic questions that a Glaswegian wouldn't know. What do you think of our vegan menu? He said I didn't know potatoes were vegan, usually because they're fried in the same fat as Chippies,
Yeah.
Right.
as fish and chips from
Yeah.
Chippies. But all sorts, yeah. And then he says, they asked him about the incident with the burglars. And he said, oh, yeah, I had to resuscitate one of them.
Shut up.
And it wasn't the police that took him, it was an ambulance. So apparently he beat him so bad, he kind of mid beating up, realized what he was doing, thought he killed the guy, and then resuscitated him. And all I can
So that he
imagine.
could stand do trial? I don't understand.
So all I can imagine is him like making him a cup of tea, going, you better not put anything in your pockets, right? I'll give you this tea. You just fucking tell him what happened. You tried to steal shit and I killed you. I just can't imagine how terrifying that must be.
Thus confirming the badass that Duncan Ferguson is.
That's it. It's
correct.
just nuts.
God,
But
or waking up to Duncan Ferguson giving you mouth to mouth.
Okay.
yeah, that's a
whole
terrifying
different-
thought. I can't even say anything to that.
All right, moving on. Cottagers, fucking flying, man. Like you said, behind Manchester United, the best record. Like they're getting tons of points. They're cruising
yeah.
along, and
They should have had more goals in this game as well.
very much agree.
But they didn't. It took them a long time to really get going, but once they did, I mean, they were fairly comfortable in this game. Real quick though, about Chelsea, what I found interesting, it came out that Graham Potter is actually putting people up for sale. He's starting to thin out the squad and see who's surplus to requirements, and some of them are people that Tuchel bought.
Really?
By the way, yeah. So Pulisic, Koulibaly are the two notable ones, but a few others are potentially on the chopping block already.
Oh shit.
Yeah, just months after they've arrived. So that would I did want to make mention of that. They're trying to ship Aubameyang to LAFC,
I love it.
and Aubameyang in LA is probably the funniest thing I've ever seen.
That's what that man needs.
But yeah, no, Fulham are flying. It was an odd start to the game. Both Forest center backs were subbed off through injury in the 7th minute.
Yeah.
And after that, the first Fulham goal was especially down to the disorganization of Forest on that free kick and holding their line and everything else. Now, you can't do anything about the strike from Willian, but I feel like Forest should have been able to clear their lines 2 times before that, maybe.
Yeah, it should have never gotten to that opportunity for him to score that
but
goal.
what a fucking hit that was.
It was nasty.
Why couldn't he do that at Arsenal
Nasty.
ever?
He didn't do it for you even once.
No, he just scored
even
one
close.
goal. Scored one fucking goal for us. He had that the first game against Fulham. He had 3 assists, and then he scored on the last day of the season.
And that
then we
was it.
shipped him off, and that's all he did the whole year. And we kept starting him. Where was this this play? That was fucking brilliant. That on his weaker left foot, by the way.
I'm intrigued for Forest because, yeah, they've had a nice little run and they've dug themselves out a little bit. But if the teams below them start winning, I think they could find themselves right back in trouble.
I'm worried. I am worried about them because of Leicester, the form of Leicester, the presumed form of y'all. I worry for Forest now. If they go on a run of bad results, this could be detrimental to them. To be honest.
Also playing the wrong team at home too, because that's the only place they're really winning is when they're at home. And like their next match at home is City. And that's after City plays you, like gets likely a loss, you know?
Yeah.
And then so now it doesn't just become, oh, we got them at home, we got a chance. It becomes, you know, because then in less than a month, it's you've got Everton at home. What if Everton's rolled off 3 wins?
Exactly. And that, I mean,
Like,
It changes super quickly then because you're absolutely right. Like Nottingham Forest have been winning at home,
Yeah.
and that's where a lot of their energy comes. Like even I go back to that first match of the season.
the West Ham one, the one that they won 1-0. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean their home pitch is their energy. Like that's where they get their momentum.
who Fulham?
No,
not in the-
Oh, Forest. Yeah. I would say Fulham. They're too polite for momentum there. Oh, I'm sorry. We rushed ahead. We'd like you to please have 5 minutes of glory.
No, Nottingham Forest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing that I'd like to mention, as I said, Fulham probably could have had more goals. Bobby De Cordova-Reid struck the crossbar with a venomous shot.
Oh, it was
and I
zipping.
love that his initials sound like a weird sex kink. BDCR. Yeah, I'm into that. I'm into that.
BCR, huh?
I'm into some BDCR there.
Gets down with that.
Yeah. Okay, just come to the basement.
You want to know Daddy's
Get some
kink?
BDCR over here.
Let's do
Yeah.
some BDCR.
Which I thought was quite funny. But do you know what Willian means in Portuguese?
No.
The mailman, okay? Because he put it right on the postage stamp. Okay. Boom. Boom. Got him. You know what else we saw in this game was a rare sighting of a giraffe sidestepping 2 people in Mitro. I never thought I'd see him out-dribble somebody.
Yeah, no shit.
But he did twice, which was very funny. And Navas actually saved really well from that. But Pereira also hit the crossbar. He was immense in this game. Sometimes he drifts in and out. You know, Paulinho's more of the center focus in that midfield. But Andreas Pereira was awesome in this game and really left his stamp on it.
Yeah, agreed. It always seems like 1 step forward, 2 steps back for fucking Spurs. Fucking, you beat
It's
City.
the life of a Tottenham supporter.
You beat City, and then you just get fucking worked. Worked by Leicester. Not even inspiring was the match from fucking from Spurs. It was just bleh.
So one of my favorite takeaways from yesterday's Super Bowl was the fact that there's yet another Fast and Furious movie. Spurs' seasons upon seasons upon seasons is the comedy version of a show with too many sequels. And however, I am a enthusiastic consumer of said comedy, and this was glorious. The latest installment of Fuck You Spurs was phenomenal. I'm here for it.
Also, don't look now.
All or nothing, spoiler nothing again.
Don't look now, but the Foxes have scored 8 goals in 2 fucking games.
I know.
I mean,
It coincides with James Madison coming back. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the big takeaway is he balances at midfield and he's the dangerous creative option.
Yeah.
Without him, they struggle.
Yeah.
What I do love is how slow Fraser Forster is to get to the Kelechi Iheanacho show. Mm-hmm. And Eric Dyer just decides to not do anything but stand with his hands behind his back, and he just creeps the ball into the far corner. Harvey Barnes gets one ruled off for offside. Shouldn't have been, by the way. Comes back again, does the same thing, but with his right foot to the opposite side to Fraser Forster.
Yeah.
Which
yeah.
was quite funny.
Yeah, I just don't see Spurs as a Champions League side.
Fuck no.
When I'm looking at all the clubs that are in that battle, right? I feel like ultimately Newcastle should be able to hang on and be that fourth Champions League team. But I have more faith in Fulham and Brighton than I do Tottenham.
Absolutely. As you should.
It just, there's nothing consistent. The only thing that is consistent about Tottenham is their absolute inconsistency.
No, and one of their best players in Bentancur now has knee ligament damage and is out for the rest of the season.
Yeah, and they were already missing Yves Bissouma, who was hurt as well. And it's like,
and Lloris wasn't in the team for whatever reason as well.
I mean, I know you're relishing in it. You love it.
I don't like seeing players get hurt at all. But however, the calamitous manner in which it happens is very funny to me.
Yeah. Scores a goal, out for the rest of the year.
Yeah. It's just, and it wasn't even a good goal. Christensen got, like, the ball scared him. He just stuck a leg out. It fell to Bentancur. The ball scared him. He stuck a leg out, but it ended up in the back of the net. It was lucky.
Yeah.
It was very lucky. And then one of my favorite first names in the Premier League, Nampolis. Nampolis Mendy said, "Hold my beer. Fuck you. I'll show you how to do it on purpose." And he tried to take the fucking net off the stanchions.
Yeah, he did.
It was a hit, that was. Another mailman, okay, in London that day. Brilliant.
Sure money.
Oh, fuck.
Sometimes I just like to let him go.
That's funny.
Give him the old look.
All right. That's pretty good. I lost again. That's minus 2,100. Sam, what'd you do?
I lost as well.
Nice. So what are you down now?
All right. Well, I am villain. I'm sorry. I'm now down 1368 because I bet on Everton to win the Derby today. But fuck it, I thought I'd give it a try. You know, and it just didn't work out.
Big Sam's Lock of the Week.
I know you like round numbers, Sam. 10% of the time, it works 100% of the time, baby.
What is that? You're two for 20 for the
two
season?
for 20 right now.
Nice.
Which, might I add, is two more than you.
Yeah, but hey,
It's fine.
those 2 times it works.
Yeah, it did.
100% of the time.
See, you all are getting it. You're starting to get it. So,
Just wait.
all that being
Just wait.
said, 3-game parlay for me here. Give me Wolves, Brentford, and Brighton to beat Bournemouth, Palace, and Fulham at plus 423.
All right.
Home teams.
I see
Picking
you.
home teams this time,
Okay.
not the away teams.
Yeah.
Because the
'Cause
away
I-
sides have fucked me,
All right.
Yeah.
which means all 3 road dogs are going to win.
Yep.
You know that's how it's going to go.
Well, I have the same 3 in mine.
The exact opposite?
No, the same way.
No shit.
Yeah.
Whoa.
But I'll come on to that in a minute because we have somebody that said they were going to be asleep, we made it in time and now he still can't call.
I believe I sent you a note that said no Pat,
Yeah, she said he was going to bed at 8:30. It's 8:19.
no Pat call.
I was just saying, you have a dedicated
no,
segment.
right there. No
I know.
Pat.
I'm just saying. There's now 10 minutes left before bedtime.
There was some big game on last
Is
night.
all I'm saying.
Apparently, there was some big game on Sunday night, and
I
we
know.
stayed up and watched it.
It was the
so
season finale of American Sports Ball.
That's the one.
Yeah.
and
Oh,
you're just,
it was also the season premiere
egg
of
handball.
Next Level Chef.
I believe they call it egg handball.
Egg handball.
Egg handball. But you can read his email.
Hand egg.
And now, it's time for our degenerate gambling friend Pat's Pick of the Week.
Via email.
I'm just saying it's disappointing when there's 9 minutes before bedtime left and you can't call in.
Dude, do I need to take back this segment?
Yep.
No,
I do.
you don't. I did that on purpose. She
We
showed
need
me
to
the
give it
thing.
to
I knew. I
Carson.
already have the email pulled up.
Carson's
But I know he's
dying
going
to talk.
I know he's going to listen to it, so I just wanted to fuck with him. Quote, I didn't hit my 2-game parlay, so now I'm down $1,301 now. This week, I'm turning it around, so long shot parlays haven't worked. Big bet single games haven't worked, so this week I'm going to bet $100 on 5 single games. So let's get this started.
$500 in bets then.
Arsenal over Villa, Wolves over Bournemouth, Leeds over Everton, draw in the Liverpool-Newcastle match, and Palace over Brentford. If I hit every one, the payout is $935. That won't happen, obviously, but if I just hit 3 out of 5, it might cut into some of my losses. You guys have a great week, and we'll talk next week when I'm recovering from a great Super Bowl.
Very good.
All
Yep.
right.
So there you go.
So Pat deviated from your picks there.
A little. And it'll be
Yes.
all right. I'll be right. He'll be wrong.
Yeah, I hope we are right because half of my 6-game parlay were the 3 games. Were the 3 games that you had. I added into that Arsenal over Villa, Wolves over Bournemouth, of course, Chelsea over Southampton, City over Forest, Brentford over Palace. And here's where the kicker in the odds happened. Brighton.
9-way parlay.
It's only 6 there, Adam. Where I got my odds boost was Brighton versus Fulham to end in a draw. That 6 games runs me $38.36 on a $100 bet. $3,836.
You know what? That tracks.
Not good gambling.
I would argue it is not bad gambling. I mean, the 2 nicest teams, of course, are going to shake hands and agree to a draw.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I got this. I could feel it.
You can feel it?
I mean, that was a segment.
Yeah, to do
A
it.
good segment.
A segment.
Y'all just don't back up your cohorts. I appreciate it.
Thank God we have a chicken to fix everything.
Well, Kitty has now lost 3 in a row and sits at 10-11. So this week, I gave her Wolverhampton hosting Bournemouth. Now, Kitty brought me into the coop and showed me her vintage Led Zeppelin vinyl collection.
Wow.
Where does she store them at?
You were in there. I'm not the one in there. I don't know what's going on in there.
I didn't even know she had a record player.
I heard it's very spacious in the coop.
It's very spacious. And so she started playing some Led Zeppelin for me. And since frontman Robert Plant is a huge Wolves fan, clearly Kitty is picking the Wolves to beat the Cherries this weekend.
Very good. Very, very good. What else do we need to do, Mrs. Houston?
I mean, we can always, do stuff like gamble legally and responsibly, but I think that's kind of overrated and honestly, kind of a little bit past y'all's strengths right now.
Championship corner.
I've fallen and I can't get up. Oh no!
A rude way to finish a segment.
Yeah.
All right, so on Tuesday, Blackpool and Huddersfield tied 2-2. Moving on to Friday, Birmingham 2-0 over West Brom, which is helpful to everyone. Blackpool and Rotherham 0-0. Bristol City 1-0 over Norwich City. Burnley cruised past Preston 3-0. Borough 3-1 over Cardiff. Coventry and Luton played to a 1-1 draw. I'm sure Nathan Jones would be super happy about that. Millwall 2-1 over QPR. Sheffield United 3-0 over Swansea. Stoke and Hull played to an exhilarating 0-0 draw. They're just both guns. Sunderland 1-0 over Reading. Watford and Blackburn 1-1. Wigan 1-0 over Huddersfield Town. And that was it for your weekend. That leaves your table looking something like this. Burnley on top on 68 points, having played 30 games. Sheffield United on the same amount with 61. Middlesbrough on 31 games, 51 points. Luton is only on 30 games, but 49 points. So they win that game in hand. They jump up to third. Then you have Millwall in fifth on 29 games on 46 points. So they could actually jump up into third as well if they win both games in hand. You have Watford in sixth on 31 games on 41 points. So they'll be staying where they are, presumably. Sunderland is in seventh, just on the outside looking in. Games played 30, 45 points. Blackburn in eighth now, continuing their plummet on 30 games played, 45 points, -4 goal differential, where everyone above them or around them has a positive goal differential. West Brom still not out of it in ninth on 44 points, 30 games played. Norwich also on 30, 42 points. Hull actually still not out of it themselves. They're in 11th on 41 points. Going to the bottom of the table. Blackpool, pretty fucked. 30 games played, 28 points. Huddersfield, same stats, but 4 better on the goal differential. Wigan in 22nd on 29 points with a -21, so that's gonna that's going to hurt. Cardiff have played a game more than the 3 below them, and they're on 29 points with a minus 14. Rotherham is just clinging on to safety in 20th place on 33 points with a minus 7, but also 30 games played. So they do have a game in hand on Cardiff below them to further extend their lead above the bottom.
Very good. Very good. All right. Well, that's going to wrap it up.
Fucking interesting in the championship.
It's going to wrap it up, boys and girls. Sammy, we unfortunately have some parting words.
Yeah, we got to call some cunts out. So following Ivan Toney's equalizer against Arsenal, there was a barrage of DMs sent to his Instagram and his Twitter. I guess the Instagram was the one named in the article, but I'm sure it was across all social media. From presumably Arsenal fans, because why would you racially abuse your own players? Which doesn't make sense. So, yeah, the Arsenal lot decided to racially abuse Ivan Toney, and it is just absolutely sickening. This is not the first time that he's had that. So Arsenal and Brentford both released a joint statement saying that they will do what they, whatever is necessary to find the responsible parties and bring them to justice. There is an example of a 24-year-old man from whoever the group that did it before. I don't remember who it was. But that admitted, yes, I sent offensive messages to him. He is actually due at the end of this week to be sentenced for his crime. So just there's a lot of things you can do to get under a player's skin without talking about his skin.
You can just be
clever.
You can be like Abby and give a disappointed look. That works.
Yeah.
Just doesn't make sense. It has nothing to do with anything. Just why are you talking about it?
Well, particularly your club and the history of
Black players
coming into the club and being brought in. Like, this is a club of acceptance already.
It's disappointing at best. And it's absolutely sickening at the worst, and this is absolutely sickening for me. It's something that we've never really been accused of, something we've never really had to deal with as a fan base that I've seen. We're, with especially our Northern African and Middle Eastern support, we're much better known for being homophobic. Actually,
I mean, yes. The most disturbing part for me was when people tried to justify or tried to excuse the blatant racism in the messages by saying, well, if VAR had made a better call, or,
but that has nothing to do with Ivan Toney's skin color.
That's the part that in your brain does it go from that ref made a shit call and VAR is a bunch of trash, which I understand that.
That is true.
The white ref didn't do his job. You don't hear a bunch of people going, "Hey, Whitey, what's your problem?
Hey, Whitey.
Why can't you do a simple fucking like you don't hear?"
Is the ref English? Then we call them colonizers.
Yeah, it just it's so baffling. It just
the whole thing is absolutely absurd. There's so many other things that you can say to somebody to put them off their game, to fuck with them, to do whatever. You expect this out of Chelsea. You expect this out of Millwall. Because they have the history of that. Arsenal do not. So to see this is just absolutely fucking disgusting. And if I'm going to hold other people to task, you got to hold us to task. And if I ever see any one of my brethren acting and behaving in this manner, you're getting fucking nutted. I'm headbutting you in the fucking face.
It's
absurd. I cannot. I hate this. My wife's black. One of my children is partially black as well. My wife's actually half. But so it hits on a personal level that not a lot of people understand, and that could be my kid you're talking about. That could be my family you're talking about.
Yeah, precisely.
I've got, nieces and nephews, second cousins that have mixed heritage. That it's just, It is inexcusable. It has nothing to do with anything, and it's not just a sporting way to put somebody off. And mind you, neither is homophobia. I was just making fun of our Muslim brethren that jumped on social media every time, and we have a very outspoken Muslim followership,
Right.
that does every Pride Month. But when our fans threatened Granit Xhaka's family a couple years ago.
Yeah.
His daughter had nothing to do with this.
Right.
His wife has
Right.
nothing to do with this.
Right.
Threatening his death has nothing to do with this.
Right.
That's absurd.
Yeah.
But to any of this stuff is not fucking appropriate. It's you want to call him shit. A shit player doesn't play for the badge. You get out. Fine. Go ahead.
Yeah.
That's not a
Yeah.
problem. Ivan Toney. I hate you, you gambling fool. That's proven. He did that. We're just waiting on the
make fun of him. Make fun of the gambling.
Yeah, we're
That's
making-
the perfect thing to make fun of him.
It happened.
It just happened.
Yeah. Hey, Pete Rose Jr. Fucking, what are you doing?
I was about to say, hey, Brentford Pete Rose.
Yeah, that's right.
It's just Brentford Rose.
Yeah, Brentford Rose.
So it's just Ivan Rose, Pete Tony.
Yeah.
It's Pete Tony be a terrible name for somebody, actually.
But I'm like that's valid.
But that, right, but that's
it's all
banter. That
funny, and
requires
that's dance, right? Like,
microcosm of brain cells to operate.
Right.
Racism doesn't, and it's sickening and it's disgusting, and I fucking hate it, and I'm very just sad.
yeah.
Besides angry, I'm just sad that it infiltrated our.
And we're going to
bit.
call it out, even
Every
when it's our
time.
clubs.
100%.
There was stuff that happened in the
Against
Palace,
Crystal Palace, yep.
and I was the best way to put it was just embarrassed. Well, what should have been an amazing celebration and an incredible time gets ruined because there's a couple of fucking assholes that just need to say hateful fucking shit. It's aggravating. It's so fucking aggravating.
Again, we've said this many times. I don't think that everybody that says the shit is racist. I think there's a piece of that subset that's like, I can put him off his sporting behavior by saying this shit to him and putting him off his game.
Right.
That is not the right way to go about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know
It's
what I mean?
not.
It's absurd.
It also shows a very low level of IQ on
But that's
your
what I'm saying.
part.
I've never once.
That's ooh, he's black. I'm gonna drop an N bomb. That'll get him.
Yeah, I've never once thought to myself, I'm gonna call him an N-word. Never once has that ever crossed my mind. It's absurd.
Cole can't understand. Can't walk a day in your shoes. I would imagine if somebody drops that word on you, it probably pisses you off more than it upsets you. It probably just makes you go, "Fuck them." Like
At a certain point, though, like, and I'm not going to speak for Ivan Toney at this point. I think he's already, said his statement, and he's, his words speak for himself. But at a certain point, you go through it enough times, it's like, what the fuck ever? You got anything else original? Like, come on. Like, people wanted to criticize him for not taking a knee in the beginning of the match. And it's like, no room for racism. But here he is yet again.
all right. Well, that was Zaha came out and said he was no longer taking knee.
Well, that was
'cause
the same thing
what
Les
point does it
Ferdinand and
make?
QPR.
What's his attitude? What point
Yeah.
does it make?
Yeah.
That was Les Ferdinand and QPR. We're great. We did the spectacle. That's awesome. Now, look at what we're doing in the community
Yeah.
for
That's
black
way
people.
more fucking important.
Well, exactly right.
It
So
is
we're not
way
taking a
more
knee
important.
anymore because look at that. And he is was a black player. Now is a black sporting director, which is also an underrepresented group
Yes.
in the executive structure of a football club. So. I'll never know what it feels like personally, except that time that Melissa tried to enlist my Puerto Rican daughter to tend the chickens.
Right. She's throwing paper and missing.
I did kind of feel it then.
Never happened.
But I almost feel like the cleverness of the Bants, the invention of the meme, all that stuff that we find on the internet that's just gold. It's when someone drops that and rolls back the years and plays the hits, it's almost more of a surprise now. Oh,
Like,
oh,
really?
I haven't heard that in a while.
That's what you're leading with?
I feel the same way when I
It's
get in
just
an
like,
argument
seriously?
on Facebook or something, and they go, "Yeah, well, go eat all the cookies, you fat bitch." I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Really? I've been called that my entire life. You think really that's gonna be what gets me over the edge? Okay, fifth grader.
Right. It's just like, oh, okay.
All right, boys and girls. Again,
Real clever, Chief.
when you wake up in the morning, you look in the mirror and you decide, today, I'm not going to be a cunt.
Yes.
I say
If
that
you
every morning.
If you can do that, you're probably going to make it through life okay.
Every morning.
You'll still make mistakes. You'll still put your foot in your mouth. But if you look in the mirror and just say that to yourself, you'll probably be a halfway decent human being.
Yeah.
Be a fucking decent human being,
That's
for fuck's
it.
sake.
brushing my teeth.
If you
Don't be a
wake up
Karen.
every day with that sole purpose of not being a cunt, usually everything turns out all right for you.
Be okay. It'll be
You
okay.
won't have to serve a lifelong football ban. You won't have to serve any jail time. You won't be barred from social media. You won't do any of those things. If you do, you'd probably look like that cunt behind me in the corner. So,
By the way, Houston,
Yes.
I texted my sister because she thinks it's a huge funny bit when you do the Abby stuff.
Uh-huh.
And I took a picture. I'm like, oh, look, he's doing it again. Abby's mad at racism. Katie, haha, good.
Yeah, we could.
yeah.
All right. So,
So
Cole,
just very simply,
Yes.
don't be a cunt.
thank you so much for joining us. Any parting words? You're
you for
down
having
to
me.
2 teams.
I am. I'm going to very quickly see whether or not I chose correctly.
Okay.
What 2 teams are left?
Brentford and
Villa.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh. The
Lindsay
question
and I are
is,
pulling out the big guns.
is
Oh, we
it-
could have a late stage entry like they do on The Bachelor.
somebody could come out of right field and be like,
never
no,
know.
I like this one.
I still have to take you to the bar, my friend.
You do indeed. Actually, yeah, I thought about that when I was watching the match. I was like, ooh, yeah,
No,
ooh.
It's not gonna
This
be
happened.
Arsenal. I'm not worried.
This story doesn't really help that. But I can promise you that our local supporters group is completely and utterly together and woke.
Cole, I like you and respect you too much to even try to get you to understand the self-hatred I have for loving Everton. I won't do that to you. You don't deserve it. You're too pure of a soul. Thanks so much for joining us, boys and girls. Next up is Injury Time, where we're going to talk about the beers we're drinking. We're going to check in on our adopted clubs, the Fantasy League, and preview the weekend's action. Sam, should somebody want to find Injury Time, how do they go about doing it?
Very easy to do so. The racists don't do it, though. It is patreon.com/DU Football Show. You sign up to the $5 tier, you get all the extra content. That includes Sound Check, which is our actual sound check, catching up from the weekend, telling some very, very personal stories at times, and then DU After Dark, more affectionately known as Injury Time, which is our preview of the upcoming week. A lot more sex jokes, which is quite funny, and just, not safe for work content.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Be sure to check out our link tree on all of our socials for all the fun stuff that we have, the closed group, our drip shack, and all the fun stuff. And keep sending us pictures of you drinking alcohol out of pint glasses.
Out of our glasses, yep.
We fucking like that a lot.
Buy more glasses.
Till next week, everybody.
Good night. Don't be a cunt.